positioned where the black man would have been. So it's destructive. And I'll ask you this. Do you think that the short term is more important in general, or the long term is more important? Which would you say is more important?
It's always the long term.
Always the long term. We agree there. And my discussion, my ideas that I share, the system of thinking that I promote, and the revolution that I'm currently waging is for the long term. And there can be no birth without pain. The truth of the matter is that, did you know there was a time when black women had a higher marriage rate than white women? But now it's flipped around. And both are increasingly becoming single mothers. But the fact of the matter is, it can be directly tied to those SNAP benefits we call them today, but before we just used to call it welfare. And that's been the destruction of the black family.
Well, I think...
Okay, so let me catch you guys up on this a little bit. So for the most part, Marquett takes the stance that, SNAP benefits is detrimental to black people. You're getting handouts. You need to actually go out there and, if SNAP benefits, you need food stamps and stuff. Like, go out there and work harder and make the money, and become something rather than, having your hand out and leaning on the government, right? And I agree. Mysonne, he's taken the side of SNAP benefits we need SNAP benefits. And one of the reasons why black people aren't progressing is because they're not using the SNAP benefits properly. We're not using it good enough, right? We need to basically scam and scheme our way with the SNAP benefits. So you're going to hear all of this. Yeah, man, it's going to be a good debate. So once again, and it's even quoted here. Go ahead and check out Marquett's channel too. It's let's see here. The name of his channel is Marquett for Women, and if you see, the title of this discussion is Debate Marquett versus Mysonne. Rage quits. SNAP benefits good for blacks. So let's get right into it.
We're correlating is two different things. I think the black family, right? I think what I realized, right, that throughout history, and me listening to women, just having conversations with the black women, there was a time where there was a family unit that wasn't really secure. That woman was staying out of desperation. There was no love, there was no unity. There are black children that were born in households. There was no love, that they didn't even see passion between parents. There are black children that said that they wish that the parents that they had probably would have been separated, because the mother staying out of desperation because she didn't have need, didn't create or foster love in a family. I think what happened now, and because I can say that accurately, because I know parents, when we were on welfare, my father didn't have a job, right? But what he did was he went to get a job to get us off of welfare. I think that any man who loves his family is not leaving his household for SNAP benefits. I know that there's this ideology and this myth that black men left the house because you couldn't be in the household because you couldn't get the SNAP benefits. But my father would leave when the welfare person came. He would leave, put his little stuff in the corner, and when they came, he came back. And what he did was he made sure he left the house and he went and got a job until we didn't need welfare.
So you see his position now. You see why Marquett is shaking his head. Marquett is shaking his head like this is pitiful. Like you're saying this as if it's a good thing, like we should follow this type of behavior. Like that's not manly. Like imagine if you're in a home and you are reliant on the government and trying to scam and scheme your way with SNAP benefits. So you take your clothes and you hide in a corner as a grown man to get this money that's coming in from the white man. Like imagine that as a black person or anybody, right? But black people always like to do black versus white. So just imagine that, like, oh yeah, let me go ahead and hide over here in the corner. And then the government gives my woman money. Crazy work. And homie is over here being proud of this. This is why Marquett shook his head like, oh, man.
He didn't abandon his family. He didn't abandon his wife. He didn't abandon his children. And most men of honor and any level of integrity that I know didn't leave his family for SNAP benefits. There's no man that who loves his family that just leaves his family for SNAP benefits. So what I think has happened is there were families that probably were broken from the beginning because there was a hierarchy. There was because I have conversations with men like you had a conversation I seen on your conversation where there was a man saying,
and look at the other thing, like what he's saying, because there was a hierarchy, like basically families was broken up because it was a hierarchy. What he's speaking right now is that of a feminine white woman. That's what he's speaking, a feminist white woman. Everything that we hear when I be debating these chicks, these feminists, or they come on my panel when I do the girl show and they be speaking nonsense, they sound like him. A hierarchy, a patriarchy, no, that's bad. Like, we need free reign and free choice. Like, things are a partnership. Like, yeah, it's crazy. And also, let me just say this though too. Mysonne, if no one doesn't know about him, he's been around for a while in the hip hop community. Haven't had no like number one hits or anything. He was more like, those underground rappers and like conscious type rappers. I wasn't a fan of his music. No hating on him though. He did, do his thing. He got a lot of recognition from his music and stuff like that. So that there's no hate there, but just my opinion. It never was, my type of music. But anyways, that's just some background on him if anyone doesn't know about him. So he's been around the hip hop music industry for a long time. Let's continue on.
You have a conversation and you say something and you sound like a man and I hit you in the mouth. I didn't abuse you. You just lost the fight. And that mentality is toxic. And no woman should have.
Oh, my son, you hit me with this white liberal female talk.
I didn't say it's toxic masculinity. I'm saying that mentality. I don't speak like a female. And I think when we talk to men, we can't talk to men and say that they talking like females because we started off saying something we're going to talk with respect. I'm talking to you like a man.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very feminine. So one, he said, I don't speak like a female, but you can't speak to men and tell them what they can or can't speak, what they can't speak like. That doesn't even make any sense. That sounds like a woman. Women say, oh, you can't speak about this. As a man, say whatever you want. You sound like a feminist white woman. How are you going to reply back and say, well, as a man, you can't speak about a man and call him a woman? What? We do that all the time. Nigga, you gay. Well, so we do. So, yeah, I don't know, man. But let's continue on.
Anything like a female.
No, I'm not saying you're talking like a female. I'm saying the ideology is
it's not ideology.
Feminist liberalism.
No, what I'm trying to tell you, I've been a man. I'm almost 50 years old, and I've been around men my whole life. Men of honor. I've been in jail around killers. I've been in jail around the most notorious men in the world. And none of them think putting your hand on a woman because she said.
Hey, yo, he said that he been around, like he been in jail. Like, does that make you more manly, or if you've been to jail? That doesn't make you more manlier. It can make you a little bit more, rough around the edges, a little more thorough, but not more manlier, let's say, right? Like most people that go to jail, they're emotional men, right? They're emotional. Oh, you was following your emotions. You got upset. You did something stupid. Oh, you were, fooled to, and, let's say you didn't have enough discernment, good judgment when it came to the people that you hung around. So you joined a gang, things like that. So, or maybe you just did something dumb, right? Oh, you try to take the easy path to success. That's what women do. Right? Oh, so I'm going to go ahead and, sell this little drugs on the side. I'm going to go ahead and do this and scheme this and try to do that. Why are you trying to do the fast money leads to slow problems? You sound like a chick that joined OnlyFans. She don't want to work a real job. She want to go ahead and sell her sexuality. Right? So just because you went to prison does not make you like a real man. Like that was just stupid.
Something that you don't agree with is masculine or strong. So I'm trying to tell you, there's an ideology that certain men have that think because a woman doesn't abide by your rules and you pay the rules that you have the ability to abuse her. So what happened when...
Do you mind if I address some of the things you said? Because you're kind of going on to a different topic at this point.
So let me just finish. So what I'm trying to say is when you talk about that SNAP benefits broke up the home, it wasn't that SNAP benefits broke up the home. There was a level of independence that women had in toxic relationships that made them believe that
Time out, man. We got to give it to Marquett. My nigga got on a Joker suit. I swear, in like Batman Beyond, Joker wore that same suit. It's fire though. But my man got on that Joker suit. Now, actually, that's the Two-Face suit. That's the Two-Face suit. Yeah, that's that suit. Let me pull up. Nah, I ain't pulling up Two-Face. That suit is fresh. We got to give it to him. Homie always got on the fresh suits, but that is that Two-Face suit from Batman.
I don't have to be around a man who thinks because I say something he don't likes and he hits me in the mouth that I lost the fight.
I'm just making some notes here. Okay. So I would challenge that a number of the things you have articulated are speculative, they're anecdotal, they diverge from logic, and they're very much so what feels good, what sounds good, and what's emotional. And the reason that I say that is because you noted that Black people represent 25% of SNAP benefits recipients. And I know you said that because I wrote it down. Now, that actually doesn't make sense in as much as Black people in America, and I'm not talking about the foundational Black American, because I think that they're more so like 10%, but Black people, which would be inclusive of Haitians and all of these other groups that have a different ethnic background. But Black people represent 13%. So they're nearly twice, they're at 200% of the representation they should be at, kind of similar to prisons. And you spoke about that earlier. You know, we're 13% of the U.S. population, but a much higher percentage of the prison population. We're overrepresented. I think there's a very reasonable story that you could articulate in both cases, but what is certain is that we're overrepresented in a bad way and it's detrimental. So you stated that as though it was a good thing that we're 25% of the welfare benefits as opposed to us being representative, which would be 13%. I yield the floor for a rebuttal to that.
Well, basically, if we're talking about wealth in America, we only represent 3% of the wealth in America, right? So if we look at communities where Blacks inhabit majorly, most of those are poor communities, right? So if we're in the poorest communities, then more likely we're going to need the most assistance. So the fact that we only represent 25% of it and everybody represents more than that, the whites represent about 40% of it, and they represent 70% of the population, and they represent 83% of the wealth, right? So that there's also a correlation. So what happens is when you look at the other people who are on SNAP benefits, they've utilized SNAP to their ability, right? If you look at the Jewish population, they are one of the highest, also a high population on SNAP benefits. They utilize the housing of the SNAP benefits. They utilize the housing. They figure out how do they get free housing, and they also own it.
Yeah, so what he's doing is just making excuses. Like, well, if white people do it, why can't we do it? Why shouldn't we do it? We should do it if they do it, if they, use the system and abuse the system. Like, he's comparing us to white people. But what he doesn't know is, well, one, white people built this country, right? Not only that, they're 60% of the population, right? Not only that, they have their wealth goes longer because, they're the ones that built the country. When usually, what is it like? White people are more likely to take out life insurance and, pass homes down to their family and X, Y, Z. The structure is, built a little different, right? That's just the facts from the past, right? Currently, right now, things are basically fair. Of course, there's always going to be, differences, but, well, white people's doing it. Well, why can't we do it? Well, think about what type of white people are doing it. The type of white people are doing is most likely the same type of Black people that want to do it too. The ones that's in poverty, right? The ones that always trying to make, try to do some scheme and stuff, backdoor teen mom stuff to try to, take the easiest path to success. It's just stupid. So he's just making up excuses. Like, oh, white people do it. Why can't Black people do it? Dumb. How about, if anything, we do what the Jews are doing? Like, the Jews, they have a community. Like, they spend their money within their community, right? They have theology and a culture, and they don't let anyone in their theology and their culture, right? And they build within and they're strong. But for some reason, my son, his ideology is, well, you know what? I want to be like, the white people instead. Like it's just like real like low tier thinking.
Their own communities within the communities they live in, and they also figure out how do they benefit off it. So what I think is what we haven't learned is how to benefit off of using the state's money, like the billionaires have, right? They call and they say we're bankrupt, right? We have our money, but we're not going to spend our money. So we want you to give us your money, and we're going to continue to make more money. I use the example of Rich Dad Poor Dad. The rich people figure out how to use OPM, right? And that is a form of government assistance. So if Black people were in our communities and we were taught how to utilize the government assistance, right? We were taught how to utilize SNAP benefits. Right now, they're trying to stop us from doing that. Right now, there's a crackdown because the lady brought cakes, right? She brought cake mix with her SNAP benefits and began selling cakes. Everyone else in other communities utilize the SNAP benefits and they double and triple those benefits. Everyone else uses government assistance to double and triple and make money off it.
Yeah, he's going on, and everyone else does this to double and triple the money. Why don't you become the race of people that don't really need to rely on SNAP benefits? Like, that's the thinking. Instead of like having a reactionary mindset, why don't you have a proactive mindset? Be proactive and do the things necessary where you never have to rely on SNAP benefits, where you never have to have your hand out and ask the government for something, right? Like it's a very, feminine mind. Like men are proactive. Women are they're reactive. Oh, you said, they get emotional. They're reactive, right? But like he's not really thinking. And you know what? I thought about this, and it's not him. Like this type of thinking is not unique to him. It's a lot of Black people that think like this, and a lot of white feminists that think like this too. But you know what? I'll digress. I'll save my thoughts for later because Marquett is going to cook.
They are intentionally trying to keep Black people poor. So I don't think that the SNAP benefits broke up the Black family. I think what broke up the Black family was not understanding how to utilize Black benefits, being targeted in our communities, because they understand that the biggest threat to America is Black unity. The president said that, Nixon said it himself, the biggest threat to America is Black unity. So they've always tried to do that. I think the biggest thing that destroyed the Black family, especially when you look at the time that's most been destroyed, is drugs and crack. Crack was the biggest thing that destroyed the Black family, because prior to that, we were still unified and we were moving. We were doing what you said. There was a community base. We're going to make sure that you're okay. Before crack came into my community.
So stupid. I just got to say it. Like he's like, his mind is very bad. It's very tangential. It's not linear thinking. He then says, well, the government even knows, the biggest threat is Black unity. Well, how can you have Black unity if you're always asking for handouts? Like the nigga just don't think.
Every door next door to me was open. We walked in and we lived like a community. We actually lived like a community. We were able to walk into our neighbors' doors and get
like his thoughts contradict one another.
Sugar. We were able, my grandmother and grandfather, my family, we had family meetings where we had the susu, where we put money in and we had family businesses. So when crack came in, you couldn't trust your own family member because once they got the money, they wasn't going to come back to it. So I don't think SNAP was the biggest thing that destroyed the Black family. I think drugs, and that was an intentional thing by the government to destroy the Black family.
Okay, very good. So my challenge with folks who often take your position, and your position can very much so be described as a liberal position. I don't suggest that to put myself on the other side as a conservative. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat, a liberal or a conservative. I just follow this ism. Marquettism is for the kids. Marquettism saves lives. Now, let's talk about this piece. So we agreed earlier that the government is for the rich. I think we can probably also agree that the government is, and always has been in the United States, organized for and controlled by white people. Would you agree with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if the government is for the rich, and you said black people are not the rich in this country, if the government is organized for the benefit of white people, organized by white people, and black people are in fact black, which color-wise would be opposite of white people, then why is it that your idea is using government benefits, which is to say using the benefit from the enemy or from the person or the group that doesn't care about you? How would you think that that would benefit you? It's nonsensical. Furthermore, it suggests a level of inferiority. Not that the white man believes you're inferior, but that you believe you're inferior, such that you must rely on the government handout. Furthermore, you reference the Jews and other
Bro done cooked him something easy.
groups that are utilizing the welfare benefit system. Well, obviously, mathematically, being that blacks are overrepresented at 200%, there's obviously some groups that are underrepresented. And I think that's worth considering. Furthermore, the Jews are actually categorized as white and have been for some time, especially since the data started being recorded when these public benefits were given out. Now, with regards to the black community, what they're lacking today and in times past, especially during the time of the crack epidemic, which, destroyed many of our families, mine included, is ideology. You see, the reason I say that there's no such thing as a black community is because communities have a lot of things in common, but core things. You mentioned the Jews earlier. It's a great example. They have religion. They have language. They live in proximity. They don't allow outsiders in. They have patriarchy. They have their own hospitals. They have their own policing force, and they have a strict system of belief, and they don't snitch and rat on each other. And also, they don't rely on the outsiders, the goyim. Whereas conversely, you're kind of describing all of the opposite things for black people. You're describing the idea that we should rely on the government, which has been our open enemy since we arrived here on a slave ship named Jesus. Black people, some are Muslims, some are Christians, some are atheists. They don't have a uniformity in the religion. Black people don't have their own language. Our folkways, mores, and our music and culture has been commercialized and stolen from us. And that's precisely why there has to be one system that dominates. And because black people are very effeminate as a mass, very soft and emotional, they have trouble accepting the fact that something must dominate to unify us into what would rightly be described as a community. Furthermore, you speak of the idea that blacks need welfare and they need government assistance. And if you were to only look at the 54 states of Africa, and you find every one of them is accepting foreign aid, also known as welfare and assistance, from whom? From the same group, which is to say the West, the whites, and they're all failing. Because government assistance is not designed to get you off of it. And even though you think it's benefiting the black people, it is actually not. It's making them weaker because, as you yourself admitted, it forced your father to have to disappear when the social worker comes up to check in, to make him have to creep around with no dignity. The truth of the matter is black people are the wealthiest group of black people, the ones in America, on the whole planet Earth. And so I assure you they can get by without those SNAP benefits, and it will open up a whole different way of living. You mentioned something about the woman being independent. I would describe it as disobedient and rebellious. The man is the leader and he is more rational, and there's data on that. And he is to lead. The idea that the black woman would use SNAP benefits to allow her to shirk her responsibilities and her duty to the black man is an abomination. And that is something that has caused a great deal of trouble. So what you're describing as a good thing is in fact a bad thing. When you look at the data, we see that those black children who grow up without their father because their mother was independent for whatever reason, they have higher levels of criminality. And you were locked up with a lot of them. They have higher levels of mental illness. They have low levels of educational attainment. And then the other thing that you mentioned that should not be mentioned at all, and it is not a factor, and that is why this ism has to spread around the whole world. You mentioned love. Love is fantastic. Marriage is not about love. Family unit is not about love. It's about pushing toward a particular set of milestones in a life well lived. Love is great. Compatibility is better. Love is great, but being able to cooperate and produce is better. How do you measure love? You can't measure it. And the worst thing about it is love is something that the women are very much so hooked on. And that's when they want to leave the relationship because I didn't feel the love. You have a duty now to be a mother. You have a duty to be a wife. And that outstrips love. I yield the floor to you.
Man. homie done cooked.
No Fugazee.
The homie done cooked. He done cooked. He done cooked something nice. Listen, after that, if I was Mysonne, I would be like, so I got an emergency. I gotta go. Homie should have gave up after that. Listen, man, you should have just gave up. What can you say after that, right? What can you say? Listen, bro, he picked you apart, put you back together, and threw you out to the trash. It's over. Dang. Let's watch a little bit more, man. Let's see what he says after this.
And I respect everything that you said, with the exception that
you know, when someone come, and I respect everything that you said. Everything that he said was the opposite of what you said. But I respect what you, but you know it was better though too. Like, you know it was better. You're like, oh dang, like, you know what? He put my thoughts together better than I could. But not only that, I was thinking like a white liberal woman, and he, like, you know, took the whiteness out of me, took the Becky out of me, and put the Jamal back. Like, I don't know, man. But homie got cooked. I would have just left the stream if I was him.
A family unit, it should not have. I mean, you actually did say that there should be compatibility, right? And it can't be compatibility if we have a disagreement, and because we disagree, I lose a fight and you hit me in my mouth, right? Abuse should never be listen to me.
Why is he speaking about abuse right now? It's just dumb. It makes no sense. Like, where is this coming? Like, he keeps leaning on like this victim stuff. Oh, well, if I say something and this person says something and you hit me in my mouth, and that's what? Where did this even come from?
I listened to you. I didn't interrupt you.
I just want to say, but I never said that though. Like, I don't want people listening to you thinking like I said that.
Well, you agreed with the person who said it. You made a full statement. I watched the video, and a man explained his verbatim that if I say something and you say "shut up, bitch, nigga" or whatever, and I hit you in the mouth, I didn't abuse you. You lost.
Okay, so basically what he did is he just fully moved the goalpost. Since he got obliterated on the topic that was at hand as far as black people using SNAP benefits and it isn't good for them, and Marquett fully obliterated him, he's like, I respect everything what you're saying, but you know, if a guy puts his hands on a woman, then, you know, I can't respect that, and, you know, this, and he starts speaking about a video or something like that. Marquett never said any of this. If I was Marquett, I'd be like, listen, dog, you just speaking nonsense. That has nothing to do with the topic at all. Shut up. Stay on topic. Speak about what we were speaking about, SNAP benefits.
The fight, because you use terms that would be deemed fighting words, right? That those were, and you said, well, I understand that, because you should not say things if you're not prepared to fight. And I don't agree with that mentality. I'm a man, a strong man. I am a masculine man. I don't agree that if a woman doesn't agree with me or says something that's out of line to me, that I should put my hands on her. I don't believe leading a household requires me to be physically abusive to a woman. I don't believe that showing strength or even in a relationship, that compatibility, that her word should not matter in the household. I believe that I should have the final say, or we should come to agreements about how we're raising our children, how we're doing things. I think that if I'm in
I would ask him a question. Well, let's say if you can't come to an agreement, you know, who has the final say, the man or the woman? Just to get like his thinking. Like, what are you speaking about, bro? You speaking this partnership stuff.
relationship with a woman who respects me, that I've earned her respect, then she will yield the floor and understand that I'm the head of the household. But there are a lot of men who are not men. They are merely males, and they only have control in their homes, right? They don't even have control in their homes. Only way they have control is because they're physically stronger than women and children. So they go into those homes and they beat and they harm women and children, and they don't produce strong men. They don't produce strong women. They don't have partners.
Yo, homie speaking like men are just out here slapping women all the time. Like, he's acting like black men is beating up black women all the time. What are you speaking about, bro? If you look at the domestic violence stats, actually women initiate domestic violence more. Like women actually initiated more. They're normally the one that initiate the, like they throw the first thing, or throw the first punch. Look at the stats, man. He doesn't know what he's speaking about. A lot of it just comes from retaliation and the man, which I don't condone, right? I think it's very weak of a man to hit a woman, but a lot of men just, they'll swing back out of retaliation and stuff. The majority. Now, are there some that just be chipping chicks? Yeah, there's definitely some out there that just be, giving black guys like, what? Shut up, chick. I don't want you speaking. What? You said something? Macau. Freaking Ryukin on them. That does happen. Or niggas turn into Goku from Ultra Instinct. Y'all like that sound, right? Yeah, y'all like that sound.
Have people who are in fear of them, and I believe that for years. That's how a lot of when you have conversations with elder women, there are elder women who said, "I wasn't in love, I wasn't in compassion, I was in fear, and I lived in this relationship out of fear." Right? So no.
I'm gonna skip this along because he's like whining right now. We got his point, right? He says, "Oh, men hit women bad." Okay, we get it. He's just repeating the same thing. We're going to skip it, get to Marquette's point, see what Marquett says.
Women down and able to reach you talk about
Dang, he's still talking.
That's why they understand that
he's still speaking about
this.
Us,
we outlearn them and we've done it. So what
keep
they
going.
do.
May I respond to your earlier point since you're going on to a different point now?
See, homie going on to 30 different points. Good job, Marquett.
I'm going into what you went into 3 different points.
No, he didn't go into 3 different points. You spoke a whole lot before, so he had to pick apart your arguments because you keep on speaking about multiple different things.
Okay, I was just asking. Carry on.
To what you said. You were talking about how we're divided as a culture, how we don't have a culture, how we don't have religion.
Marquett's a good guy, man. He done yielded the floor even more to him. Shouts out to Marquett. We got to give him one. He's a nice guy. I wouldn't have been that nice, though.
I'm explaining to you what happened. Right now there's a reckoning to be strong. They've seen black people in positions of power. So I understand what you're saying, but I also want
can't
you
hear
to
no more. We got to skip it.
Homes, and they're utilizing it. And they're
one thing that I want the audience to take note of, and you as well, is that there is a red herring. You engaged in a major distraction. So the conversation that we agreed to have, and I'm happy to have this additional conversation, but the conversation we agreed to have was specifically about the clip that Willie D put out. And it was a clip with me speaking about SNAP benefits. And then from that discussion, out of nowhere, you start talking about another clip that you saw on my page with regards to a man speaking about how men and women communicate with respect and how that can or cannot turn physical. So I just want everyone to observe that was a major distraction on that one. And
I don't think it's really a distraction. I think that you talked about the black family, right? So we're talking about the black family and you say where was the disconnect and how something broke up the black family and how SNAP benefits replaced the man. And I want you to understand that in my point of view, that I don't believe SNAP benefits.
So I didn't yield the floor, and I appreciate that. But that is to bring emotionalism and to pull on the heartstrings. It's not a logical argument, and it's not even a part of what we were discussing. You basically try to position me as someone who approves of beating women and referencing a clip that had nothing to do with the clips that we were talking about. And this is it's almost like a mudslinging tactic.
Yeah. Marquett is doing an excellent job right here because he's pointing everything out, like for the audience. Because sometimes the audience, you could be watching, a debate, tuning into it, and then someone says something, and you're like, wait, did this person say this during this conversation? It can fully throw you off. So he's doing perfect by pointing it out and bringing it to the audience attention.
Tactic, honestly. But I will address it. And I will double down and stand on everything that I've said. Now, one thing I like about you, there are a number of things I like about you, but one thing I like about you is that you're against.
I actually appreciate you.
I appreciate you. And one thing that I know that you've taken a public stand against is blacks murdering blacks, black on black violence. And I agree with you there. In as much as that's the case, we all have to engage one another with respect. And especially women who would claim that they're equal, then you would be treated as an equal. If you wish to be treated as a child, or be treated as one who is not as rational, as responsible as a man, then you need to completely submit and be obedient. Now, me, if I had you on one hand and my lady on the other hand, and you said, Marquett, you this, that, and the third, cursing and being vulgar and being verbally threatening, I do my best to give you my worst straight away. There'd be no conversation. If my lady said the exact same things that you said, I wouldn't even take it seriously because she is truly a lady. She's feminine. I know she's irrational, but most importantly, she's in full submission to me. So even if she got emotional for a moment, I would forgive it because we already understand our hierarchy and that there's asymmetry and that I'm above her. So being that I view myself above her, she views me above her, I don't expect her to engage me with an equal level of rationality and of decorum. So I would not engage her physically. However, if I'm dealing with a woman who says that she's an independent woman, she says she's a strong woman, she says she's the same as a man, she's not taking my leadership, we're equal partners. Now, me personally, if I have an issue with a woman at any level, she's gone. There's no need to even play games with it. I wouldn't lift a hand to her. It's not a good use of time. I send her packing. But let's just say in the scenario of an average guy and he's dealing with a woman on an equal basis. Well, if you, Mysonne, say something that would lead you to getting your eye blacked and the woman says the same thing and she believes she's equal, then she should get her eye blacked. And it's that simple. Unless you truly don't believe that they're equal. And there's a lot of lies about it's liberal, white woman, feminist ideology. And it's really not about being equal. What it really is about is actually matriarchy and domination. A quick question for you before I carry on. You use the term partner. This is a term that comes from the LGBTQ, the Skittle Guzzlers. Do you accept homosexuality?
Well, I don't have to accept homosexuality because I'm not a homosexual. So why would I have to accept?
Are you pro homosexual? Are you an ally? I'll give you three. I just want to figure out where you're at with it. Are you an ally? Are you against it? Or are you?
Yeah, it's so funny. Like when you ask someone, like, "Yo, are you pro like homosexuality? Like, do you agree with this stuff?" If they start to be like, "Well, I don't. That's not my business." Oh, nigga, you gay. It's like, oh man, listen, you gay. Yeah. Any straight man is like, no, yeah, I ain't with none of that. Quick answer. You answer it quick.
Neutral.
I don't have anything against somebody that's homosexual. That's their way of life. It's not my
against,
way.
Neutral, or pro? Or excuse me, I'm sorry, that was wrong. Against, neutral, or ally?
I'm for anyone loving who they love.
You said you're a man. I'm just asking you as a man, respectfully. I'm asking you to make it plain. You know, black folks, we say make it plain. So like, make it plain for me. You're against it, you're neutral, or you're an ally?
Yeah, this is embarrassing as a man. Like, bro, just answer the question. Are you against it? This doesn't mean, if you say you're against it, this doesn't mean that you want the alphabet community to be, done away with, like as far as death. Like, no, we're not speaking that doesn't mean that. It's just like you're against that type of behavior, right? Like if you ask them a question like, are you against pedophiles, males that's attracted to minors? Like, are you against that? It'll be an easy yes. Yeah, I'm totally against that. I'm sure he would have said yes then. If Marquett would have did that to like pose, to give some, like a difference there, right? To see how fast he can answer another question that is degenerate behavior, but then this other question that is degenerate behavior as well, he's having some trouble answering.
I am for people loving who they love.
You sound like a lawyer right now. Now, here's the thing. I'm from LA.
You for people loving who you love. What about people that love, the younglings? What about that? Oh, you're not for that. Well, you said no real fast. Great. That was a great answer. Now, what about this? Are you for people that do these type of sexual deviant acts? Oh, why are you jumping through loops and hoops, right? Why are you hiding in the shade? No, just answer the question. Be direct, man.
I know you're from New York, right?
Yes, sir.
And one thing we could always respect about the two cities, always look at us as, very influential groups of black people. But we always look at you guys as blunt and straightforward, and we like to think that we're very honest, especially if you come from the lumping class or the underclass or the criminal class. Now, in my neighborhood, you ask a nigga a question, he's just gonna tell you flat out. Like, I feel like you going Jesse Jackson on me right now, bro.
No, you feel like that I'm not giving you what you want to give me.
No, you going Jesse Jackson. I just asked you, like, you from the Bronx. I just asked you, like, are you against it? Are you neutral, or are you an ally?
Once again, I'm gonna say again, you don't get to explain to me how I answer a question. You ask me a question, and I said I'm for people loving who they love.
Okay,
That's
so
what
you're okay with a grown man loving another grown man.
Being okay with if that grown man is okay with loving that grown man, that's
Yeah, he jumping all around. First he says, I'm for people loving whoever they want to love. Marquett says, okay, so you for a grown man loving another grown man. He says, I'm for, bro, just answer the question.
his decision. That's not
Okay, got you. Understood. Now, so that's why I used the term partner earlier. So this kind of ideology that you believe in and that you're sharing, this is the ideology that's extraordinarily destructive to the Black family in particular, and all families in general across all of the racial categories, racial and religious. Because number one, you're talking about independent women, and then you're talking about love. Families are not about love. They're about compatibility, business, moving forward, surviving and thriving. That's what it's actually about. And then when you talk about, you ask the older women, they weren't happy, they weren't in love. That's fine. Grandma had 9 kids, and it was very common that everybody's grandma and great grandma had 5 kids, 6 kids, 7 kids, 8 kids, 9 kids, 10 kids. Apparently, things were doing all right. You see, what you're describing is the unruly, disobedient nature of woman in general, but particularly a woman who's traumatized, particularly a woman who's unprotected. A woman should not be leading herself. And what has happened is that they've led themselves to destruction. They think that they're thinking clearly and making good decisions, and they're not. And we can see all of the outcomes as a result. And it's shown up in all of the bad things we've been seeing happen, particularly in the Black community. Now, another thing that reeks of this white woman liberal ideology, you brought up Barack Obama, who number one is irrelevant.
Yeah, we got to be honest, though. Marquett calling his ideology the white woman's ideology to his face, like, you got to feel disrespected. Well, you know what? It's not even truly disrespect. I think one would feel, you got to feel shame. Like you should feel shameful. It ain't even really disrespect, because if he's pointing it out clear, with examples and showing you that this is how white liberal women think, and your thinking follows the same pattern, and it's clear and concise how Marquett always speaks, you gotta feel shame. Like, it's not even really disrespect. I know it's like kind of hurt the stomach, like, dang, okay.
To the conversation. Number two, he's not done a damn thing for Black people. I find it offensive. Number three, as a foundational Black American, he's not one of us. He doesn't have the same heritage. And number four, he did more for the LGBTQ because he actually passed legislation and went to bat on their behalf. I find him to have been a stain for Black people. Did I vote for him the first time around? Absolutely, because just like most of us, I was swept away. I was swept away with seeing my image reflected at a high level. And then I realized, he's not like us. He's not like us. And many of us are lost. I am the souls of Black folks. Black people have the highest level of religiosity in this country right here. And that's because Black people are a people of spirit and rhythm. And that's all of us around the whole planet Earth. We're deeply religious, spiritual people. And if you go to the continent of Africa, for the things that you said you're okay with, the LGBTQ stuff, there's capital punishment in many places. There's a death penalty because Black people, that is against the souls of Black folks. And you're a hip hop head. You may remember the time when hip hop was Black, when hip hop was positive, when hip hop was political, and when hip hop embedded our culture, and you would hear people say things like no homo, or you finish battling somebody, especially in New York, and you would say, and I can't even say the word right now, That's all been ripped out of our culture by the liberal whites. What they did was they commercialized our culture. They put it on social media, they put it on Netflix, and then they told us who we are. Before, they used to observe us in our ghettos and then reflect our image in Hollywood. But now Hollywood tells us who we are and then we follow it. And that's how you get a Lil Nas X, and that's how you get Mysonne, the general, telling me he can't speak up straight like a man and say, I do not condone the abomination of a man laying down with another man, especially a black man, because that reduces our population. The black woman aborts more children.
No Fugazee. Fugazee.
I would have left the stream if I was Mysonne. I would have been like, yeah, you got it, man. Just walked off. Homie is getting cooked something easy here. Let's continue on.
Then she gives birth to. Her birth rate is like 1.9. You need a birth rate of 2.1 for replacement and for growth. And we cannot have all these people, males laying with males and women laying with women and black women abort children because we are being reduced. You talk about reparations. You say the government owes us something. Maybe they do. But one thing I can promise you is they ain't giving you a damn thing. You ain't going to get 40 acres. You ain't going to get a mule. What I'm doing is I got Burton Plantation, 62 acres. We're giving out 2 acres, $30K. It's a hell of a deal. And building a cooperative community where we have farming and all of the things that you need for your children, including homeschool. But what I'm not about to do, I'm not about to wait for a government that I already know hates me. Because goddamn it, the government hates the white man too. He ain't doing a damn thing for the middle and lower class white man. Why in the hell would he do something for me? So I tell you this, logic. I asked you, what's more important, short term or long term? You said long term. Dig this. If we believe that the black man in America, the black family is owed something and we want to get it, you have to get it through force because that's how it was taken. It was taken by force. Malcolm X, one of your New York brothers, told you.
Homie is eating him up. Homie is even using force doctrine on him. Oh, homie is eating. Homie is eating him up. This is a complete obliteration. Shouts out to Marquett. This is not a glaze session either. Marquett is the homie. Me and Marquett, we speak a lot. Actually, we just spoke yesterday. But this is what y'all need to hear and what y'all need to listen to. This is why I'm doing a reaction to it. So, like as Marquett would say, continue to spit this ism and listen to what he's saying. And I'm gonna sit back here and I don't really have to break nothing down. He's breaking it down for me. So this is a real easy reaction for me. So let's continue on.
You can't ask to get free. You got to take it. So if we want to be able to compete, we need population. We need education. We need religion. We need heterosexuality. We need unity, leadership, and patriarchy. The things that you're talking about being a partner and focusing on love and not having reproduction, those are all things that destroy us. And that's what's happening right now. There will be no reparations. We have to build up our population and take the reparations by any means necessary.
So a lot of what you said I agree with, and a lot of what you said is false.
Bro, yeah. This nigga pissing me off. This nigga pissing me off. So, a lot of what you said I agree with, and a lot of what you said was false. Well, let's get to the false stuff first. Let's see if he can explain what was false in that statement.
My opinion, right? First of all, I don't have a white liberal mentality. White women, I've probably been around 1 or 2 white women my whole life. I've been around strong black women who are probably smarter than the men that they were around. I've been around strong black women who were smarter. My grandmother was smarter than most men I've ever seen. She was stronger.
He said, I don't have a white liberal mindset. I've been around all black women. I've been around my grandmother. Like, what is that proving that you've been around other women? Because women are more susceptible to outside influences than men anyway. So if this ideology came from liberal white women, like Marquett is pointing out, you don't think that these liberal white women with a lot of propaganda and media influence were able to penetrate the minds of the black women, and then you were influenced by those black feminist women? Yeah, that's what happened. That's what he's pointing out.
Than most men I've ever seen, and my grandfather was stronger than her. but he never put his hands on her. He never put his hands on her, and she talked crazy. He never put his hands on her.
Yo, he's going back to men putting their hands or not putting their hands on women. Like, homie, have you been abused? Like, what's going on here? Like, who hurt you? I would that's like Marquett laughing right there. I would have been like, wait, time out, bro. Were you abused when you were young? I don't condone abusing, child abuse, and, you know, women abuse. I don't condone any of that. But listen, man, if you need some help, like I got a number. We could get this number for you. You could speak to somebody. We got a shrink for you, homie. Because what you're speaking right now is very victim mindset, like you've been hurt. How did the conversation get back to, domestic violence? Like, what? Homie can't follow a convo at all. Like, he thinks about one thing. No, actually, I lied. He thinks about multiple things, but right now he's sticking on this.
He was a man. He was a strong adult man, and he never felt like he had to overpower her or take or diminish her power for him to be great. I don't feel like I have to diminish any woman's power around me. I'm around strong, intelligent, beautiful, smart black women every day of my life. The most powerful black women in this country every day of my life. And I don't mind following them in certain situations.
Yo, what? Let's keep it right there. Look at Marquett's face once he said, and I don't mind following these strong black women. Why did my face go like this too? And Marquett, and I know the audience, I know y'all at home watching right now, and y'all like, wait, what did this nigga just say? You don't mind following a woman? Oh man, this nigga is a sucker. What's going on here?
They follow me in certain situations because they know I'm strong enough to lead. And any leader is strong enough to follow. And if you think that you have to lead in every situation, then you've never really been a leader. And that is what you call a weak man's mentality. And it's a weak men mentality. It's not a white woman liberal. It's a weak men's mentality to believe that every room he's in and every time he's around a woman, that he has to be in some position of power. No, I've been around women, like I said, who are stronger, who are doing more, who are more educated, who are more or more artistic, who are more theological, who lead better, who are organized better. I've been around those women in my life. So
well, that's the problem. You've been around women that can lead better than the men. This means that the men was so weak. You're proving the point. Like, what you're doing is proving what Marquett is saying. That's why, you know, the black community has these certain problems, is because women were leading the community, which came from the liberal white woman's mind. So the ideology of the white woman, the black woman adopted that same mindset. And then when a black woman adopted that same mindset, that I can be independent, boss babe, I don't really need a man, they went ahead and kicked out a husband out the home. They went ahead and got them government checks, them SNAP benefits, right? And they think that, oh, I could do battle by myself. And we already see the stats. We know about the stats. When children are raised in single mother households, it leads to juvenile delinquents, it leads to gang violence, and so on and so forth. And he just doesn't understand that. He still thinks that, you know, well, like, it's a bad thing that you have to follow women. This would mean like society went way, way, way down, or your community went way, way down, where the only thing that you can rely on is like, you know what? The men are so weak. Let's follow the woman. That's like, you know, when the community is over, right?
Understand what that is. So when we talk about women, I understand that from my perspective.
And let's just put that in here real quick. It's not to say that, you know, Marquett will believe this too. It's not to say that women aren't intelligent, they're smart, there can be women that's logical. Yes, we know this, but generally speaking, on average, no, they're not fit for the position of leadership. That's a male's position. That's a man's position.
Not from the white woman's perspective. When we talk about homosexuality, I've never seen a homosexual stop being a homosexual because I didn't like it, right? I was a 20 and 19-year-old person. My father was so anti-homosexual that he used to beat homosexuals up. I grew up until I was a grown man. I started having conversations with homosexuals and realizing that the same way that I loved women and the same ideology, some of them was crying because they wish they weren't homosexual. Right, understanding that they believe that this is who they are. I had a different understanding. I don't have to agree with someone else's lifestyle, but I don't have to impose upon it. And because you kill and you make a law that says homosexuality is forbidden.
Yeah, he doesn't understand. You don't have to impose on it, but you have to discard of it. That's what it is. You have to discard the same way like you would discard of the certain, you would shame that type of activity. If a man wanted to diddle with, the younglings, you would shame that type of pedophile activity. No, we don't want that around here. We don't want that around here. The same thing with the sexual deviance, right? It's a reproductive dead end. Women on women, male on male, it does nothing to build up the community. It's a reproductive dead end. Now, it's not to say that, people that do these activities, they can't be productive members of society, maybe invent new things or maybe create things or maybe work and help out like that too. No, that's all fine. But the bedroom activity should never be promoted. Never be promoted. What you do in that bedroom, listen, we keep that far there. It should never be out. We should never praise it. Children shouldn't see it. We shouldn't speak about it. That's what you do in your bedroom. That's what you do. Now, if you want to go ahead and create a business, be in a society and help out with the economy, okay, cool. But that bedroom activity should never be promoted. It should be shunned away. And also, if it ever creeps his little nose out to be like, hi, it should be shamed and pushed away.
It's not going to stop people from being homosexuals because you don't call a person.
It's not about stopping it. It's about stopping the spread of it. We don't want that. Influence creates thinking. Thinking creates behavior. We don't want that behavior to be spread amongst the immature minds.
Trans, they're not going to stop being trans because you don't like it. So what you should do is build your tribe, raise your kings to be kings, teach them what manhood looks like, and raise them in your own image instead of worrying about what somebody else is doing. I don't have to kill you or impose upon your ideology or your life or your culture for me to be strong because I'm a king in real life. So when people see me, they gravitate to me because I lead. I can go into the most dangerous communities in the Bronx, Brooklyn, Chicago, anywhere, and be treated like a man. I make people put their guns down because I move like a king, and that's what power is. So the ideology that you think that we have to impose upon people who are weaker than us, who have different ideologies than us, is not manhood at all to me. I think what's weak in our community and what women stop having respect for men is because they see men think that you got to rule because you're more physically stronger than them. Men are not all men are not mentally stronger than women. Women have dealt with more pain and been through more shit. My mother went through more shit than I've ever seen any man go through. So you're not going to tell me.
Bro, homie is dumb. Just because you went through something that does not make you strong. That's his argument. My mother has went through more stuff than any man has ever been through. Okay, so if you go through experience a lot of trauma, that makes you strong. Trauma. No, if you go through a lot of stuff and you overcome that trauma and you overcome adversities, for a man that can build character, for a man that can make you stronger, if you fully overcame it and you didn't suffer any mental illness or PTSD or anything like that, or you're in a state of rumination and you're always like feeling like all depressed and stuff like that. So what he's speaking about is that would work for a man to build character, but for a woman to stay in her feminine, well, it's not good for a woman to go through trauma, to experience a lot of ups and downs and all of these crazy things. That's not healthy for the feminine. For the masculine, it is. This is why you see a lot of black women and they're masculine because they've went through a lot of things. Most likely, like he's saying, his mother went through. So all you did is just have a masculine mother. You really, truly never had a feminine mother. So homie is just speaking nonsense right now. I may have to skip through. I don't know how much more I can take of this victim mentality. But we're going to watch some more, and I want to hear Marquett's response anyway.
That men are just all the way stronger than women. That's not true. Physically, yes. And most of these weak men who don't have nothing else to provide but strength want to physically impose themselves upon women. And that's not manhood to me. So I always stand up against that. So yes, we have different.
And then he goes back to domestic violence. Like, bro, what is you speaking about? How did you just throw that? And most of these men, they physically want to impose their will on other women and hit other, like, what are you talking? Most? What? That's crazy, bro. It's not a
ideology.
thing.
I do believe the black family should be led by men, but it has to be led by men and not males. Just your physical anatomy does not make you a man. Because you could put your hands or physically do something to me doesn't make that you're stronger than me or you have some level of hierarchy over me.
Well, you're wrong on that. If I could beat you up, and listen, you say 1 + 1 = 2, but I can whoop your butt, and I say 1 + 1 = 3. 1 + 1 is gonna equal 3. Cause I'm gonna beat you up, and you're gonna be like, yeah, 1 + 1 = 3. You ain't gonna have no choice. So yeah, what he's saying right now is not fully wrong. Not saying that it's right, but he's 100% wrong as a descriptor of reality.
When you want to be a man, lead with your mind, right? Because if you look at the strongest people in the world, Hitler was 5'3", he led with his mind. If you look at people who had people that followed them, they led with their mind. So I understand that the strongest tool on a man is his mind, and a woman will submit to a man who has a mind. I don't have to hit a woman to make her do what I want her to do. I don't have to impose my will for my woman to do. And if you're in a relationship, and if you're in a marriage,
the crazy thing is he didn't understand what Marquett said when Marquett was speaking about the Marquett said he would never put his hands on a female. He would just, if a woman even was, acting masculine and wanted to be independent and thought that they were equal to a man, he would just, discard of her, get her out of here. He wouldn't even raise a hand to that woman, like he said. But what he's speaking about, like an average man, right? An average man that's maybe not on his level and stuff like that. Like an average man dealing with a woman that's an independent woman, right? Well, if you're equal to that man and you're independent, right? And you want to be just like a man, if you put your hand on a man, well, you got to expect, you should expect for that man to put his hands on you. Not saying that we condone any of this type of behavior. Once again, I don't think that men should put their hands on women. And Marquett even said that too. But he doesn't know how to follow a conversation. He keeps speaking as if Marquett was for that.
With a woman. So since you don't like the term partner, if you're in a marriage with a woman and you can't get her to submit to you because you are strong mentally and she believes in you, then you're in the wrong relationship and you should find you another relationship. You should not stay there. You should not impose your will upon that woman. You should not threaten that woman. You should not have to do all of that shit. Your kids are supposed to follow you because they see strength in you. When you are a strong person, people see strength in you. You don't have to impose anything. And that's why we're in a system with an oligarchy and a fascist who thinks that because he imposes his will upon somebody and say, you can't be that. And
Bro called Trump a fascist. You know he was fully indoctrinated by the liberal right woman.
You can't do that. And this is with this. And that's why the world is rejecting it. This ideology that you have, the world is rejected. So you can keep on going with it if you want to, but the majority of the world is rejected it. If we want to talk about building up black families, we have to build black unities in respect and in partnership and identifying the strength in women, finding you a partner who is equally yoked with you. When you find a woman that you can look in her eyes and she sees the strength in you, the movie I like 300, right? I like 300 because that man used to go to he was the king, but he looked at his wife and everybody knows who he was the strongest person there. But he looked at her and she gave him the head nod and he respected her.
Wait, did this nigga just said Leonidas? The wife was stronger than Leonidas? I think that's the dude from 300 name. Is he saying that Leonidas, like the wife was leading Leonidas? What are you speaking about, bro? Correct me if I got the king from 300 name wrong. I think it is King Leonidas or one of the names. I don't know. But anyways, homie's speaking nonsense right now, but we're going to take a quick pause for the calls. I'm going to go ahead and get to some of these super chats because they're piling up. I'm going to read these. We're going to continue on for a little bit more. We're going to hear Marquett's response. Once we get done with Marquett's response, we're going to react to the debate that I did with Tilly that Destiny moderated on his channel. So let's go ahead and get to these chats real quick. We got Dane Snyder. Bring this up. We got Dane Snyder season 5 that says wasn't a Marquett fan. He's preaching the truth men need, and not just black men, more pronounced amongst black men, but the whites need it too. Okay. We got Dane Snyder again says in $5. Curious whether the rapper guy has sons, and if he does, has he raised them or did his strong black baby mama raise them? I'm a little curious about that too. And then let me get to these other super chats that I don't want to miss anything. I'm not going to bring them up on stage, up on stream, because I think I already missed them. But we got Nick. He sent in a $10 super chat. He says, in case people don't realize, white liberal women are being used by satanic globalists to destroy society. If you do your own research, you'll find the truth. Okay, fair enough. All right, let's get back to this work.
She respected him, and she was willing to die for him. So this is what a family unit looks like to me. I don't know what y'all look. I don't want to be in no family where it's just a business and you doing what the fuck excuse my language. I apologize. All
right, man.
It's your moral compass for you to be here. I don't want you to be in my community.
We skipping this a little bit.
It's gonna.
He's saying the same thing. Okay.
Again, I want everyone to note that Mysonne again has suggested that I've promoted laying your hands on women. I've never done that my entire life. And I also, you're interrupting me at this time, sir, if I might complete a sentence. I've never done that in my entire life. I've never promoted it. I've had no experience with that. And this is how we know for sure that you're representing the white woman liberal ideology, because the main thing that you hear them talking is this, right? Because may I complete a sentence?
We said about respect, right? So stop equating me with anything that has to do with a white woman. All right. So just
it's their ideology. You see, it's their ideology.
I would take a liberal ideology, but don't equate nothing that.
No, they're the ones. We're in a matriarchy.
Once again, I've explained to you that I've never been a white woman. So I don't.
Yo, homie is so emotional right now.
Have a white woman.
You don't have to. Even if you're around black women, even if you're around black women, you're still around liberal white woman ideology. That's what you're not catching up with. Black women today are the result of liberal.
My mother hated all.
You keep on speaking.
Because what you're doing.
I didn't interrupt.
He said my mother hated all white women. Okay, so she hated all white women. This doesn't mean that she was influenced by the white women. That doesn't mean that. What are you speaking about?
Do you like this?
But you're not interrupting me.
I didn't interrupt you like this.
You're saying things that we already started.
I didn't interrupt you like this. You were positioning me as a woman beater, and I didn't even interrupt you.
You said something.
You positioned me like I'm Ike Turner, and I let you keep going.
I didn't say you. I said the ideology I didn't say that you ever put your hands on a woman.
I never said that's my ideology. You can go to thesassin.com, THESASN.com, and click what is Marquettism, and you won't see one thing about laying a hand on a woman. So that's not my ideology.
You said that in this conversation. You just said if a woman speaking to you like a man and she feels like she's equal, then I will punch you in the face. You said I would black your eye. I did not say that.
She's just straw manning Marquette's position. This guy's dumb.
That
you said if
you're incorrect.
Said certain things,
and this is again, you find this with the Democrats. This is mudslinging.
You didn't say that?
This is mudslinging.
So that was the terminology.
This is mudslinging.
So explain to me what you said then.
So you have to calm down and remember the fact that I had the floor. So you don't interrupt me and then start asking me questions while I'm talking. So first you interrupted. You said you were clarifying something, and then you went. I've not tried to disrespect you. I've not tried to disrespect you.
Know that it was disrespectful.
No, you're letting me know that you're offended by it, and that's fine. Sometimes we'll get offended. I'm offended by the fact that you are suggesting that I promote the idea of laying a hand on a woman when I've never done anything of the sort. Oppositely, I recommend people to leave the woman.
And you see the difference between it, and Marquette pointed that out perfectly, because actually he's the one that's doing the mudslinging and trying to put Marquette's name in the dirt by insinuating, not even just insinuating, pretty much saying that Marquette promotes domestic violence and men putting their hands on women. That is actually truly disrespect, right? So there's a difference, right? That's disrespect, and you see how Marquette is handling the disrespect in a decorum way. He's not emotional. He's still, talking to the guy back regular. But when what Marquette is saying, because it's true. It's really true, because truth hurts. Truth, when you hear the truth and you're filled with lies, your emotions tend to rise. God dang, I think that was a bar. Let me repeat it back. I was spitting. I forgot what I just said. It was so hot. Y'all get it. Take the clip, bring it back. I said emotions rise, let it rise. Y'all bring it. Anyways, so it's funny because Mysonne is getting very emotional. And I don't think that the emotions is from that he feels disrespect. I think that the emotions is coming because he feels shame, right? He feels shameful, like, he's picking me apart. He's going to the deepest part of my ideology and my thinking. And now he's starting to like fight with himself, right? He's starting to fight with his own mind. Like, well, was I really infiltrated and psyoped by the liberal white woman? Is this what's happening? Like, what's going on? So, yeah, this is why he's emotional right now.
If it ever comes to anything like that. So yeah, I find that offensive, but not so offensive that I become emotional like a woman and then start interrupting. There have been times that you were talking and I said, may I ask you this?
See what I mean? You're going back to the same thing. And this is what I'm saying.
Why do you keep interrupting?
Because you're saying I'm being emotional like a woman. And I'm telling you, I'm explaining to you this. So that
it's crazy because you said basically that Marquett promotes hitting women. Marquett did not cut you off. He waited until you fully landed your plane and then he rebutted what you said, right? Then he refuted what you truly said. So yeah, man, this dude is very, very emotional.
Stop the conversation. If you don't think that you can move forward without comparing me to a woman, then we can stop.
No, I'm telling you that.
Homie asked to stop the conversation. When you losing and it's bad, when you're like, listen, you keep on comparing me to a liberal white woman and I don't like it. It's hurting my feelings. So we should end this conversation. If you can't stop calling me that name calling me, please stop the stream. I can't handle it. It's hurting me internally. This guy is stupid. I'm going to be honest, right? And now, once again, Marquett he invited him on his platform, showing him a lot of respect, I would actually say. Having decorum and stuff like that. And but for me, I don't know this dude at all. He's a dork.
We're all in a matriarchy right now. We're in a matriarchy, which is a female-led society. And in a female-led society, women control the culture and the ideology. And what I'm expressing to you is that I believe you are victim of that ideology and that the ideas you're sharing with me reek of that ideology. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. The male versus the female, we have a different nature. For example, females tend to be ones who want to bring people together. They're more accepting and they're all about equality. Conversely, the quintessential male personality and psyche is more about hierarchy and inequality and establishing dominance.
Well, who said that?
This is psychology. We can read all of the basics in psychology. There are traits that are typical of the human female and the human male. For example, being neurotic. That's more of a female trait. Being dominant, that's more of a male trait. There's even a book written by a woman. And for those of you who would like to check out the book, you can find it on amazon.com/shop/The Saint and the Sinner. And it's written by a woman. And it talks about how women in corporate can fit into male culture because male culture used to dominate in corporate, and that's changing. And when you look at HR, it's mostly women. Why? Because that's a perfect job for women because women have different wiring than men. And just the fact that you're questioning me on the differences between the male and the female, this is gender feminist ideology suggesting that we're the same. We're not the same. Now you ask, why am I suggesting that you have feminist mentality? It's because earlier you went out of your way to describe, I know so many women are strong and, my grandmother was stronger than so-and-so. And the guy from 300, King Leonidas, couldn't make a call without looking at his wife. And you've gone to great lengths to explain that the woman has to lead at some point. And what I'm telling you is the good news for you is that what you believe in is dominant right now. It's dominating right now throughout the Western civilization. And that is why Western civilization is in decline. So I'm going to get back to my earlier points before I was interrupted. And again, I want everyone to know, for those of you guys watching, I want you guys to know, like, to be honest with you, if I saw the gentleman in real life, I probably wouldn't have this conversation. I'm having this conversation where we're kind of splitting apart ideas. But if I had this, saw the brother in real life, I probably want to sit for a meal or hear what he has going on or go check out his organizations, things like that. I wouldn't debate him. I'd more so be interested in where do we intersect and how can we do some work together. I just want everyone to know that for the record. And furthermore, I want people to know that I wouldn't disrespect him to his face, because I do respect him. So for everyone watching it, I don't think that, he's someone to be disrespected, and I don't intend to disrespect him. He may feel disrespected, but I don't have any intention of that. I have respect, but I have very strong disagreements. Now, if there was a revolution popped up, hell yeah, I'm gonna have to run you through with a spear, you dig? But as it stands,
All right. I think that was a complete obliteration. We got the super chat that came up. We got ML Raw sends in $5, says, the wife in 300 slept with the politician. You're doing good work, Cooley. God bless you. Appreciate that, man. I appreciate you. All right, chat, get the likes up.